Recording on. So the recording started, and I will, of course, use that chat box because I want to answer questions and make this as interactive as possible. If they're lengthy questions, like they take a whole sentence to write, that usually takes about a minute for me to read, and all you get to see is the top of my head, which is not a great learning experience for you. So I'll save those to the end. I'll turn off the recording then too, because a lot of times in lengthier questions, people get into more private or confidential information. I don't want to record those, but I do want you to have access to what I actually show here, because some of you may want to use the slides more like an outline, and then you can follow along and have me repeat things as you need to with a replay. Okay, so we're going to be talking about how you can make those better business decisions with analytics. Again, if you want to know and use anything that Google has available to you, you go to grow.google/small businesses. Everything that I'm talking about is 100% free, so you can connect with me. As you see at the very bottom under my title, you'll see the first handle there is me on X. So on Twitter, Maria Duron, Duron, or on Instagram, I'm at getfound.growth. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. And just so that you know, I do come to you with a small business background. So I've been 20 plus years in small business. 7 of those years I've been on the Google team, because the Google team wanted people who are used to being butcher, baker, candlestick maker, and then also accessing and heavily utilizing all these Google tools while they're still taking care of their business. I come from content creation as the beginning. So I started blogging at the very beginning. This is back in 2008. I started blogging. I actually had a blog that was picked up by Advertising Age, with Forbes, with Huffington Post, with Entrepreneur Magazine, Fox Business, Yahoo Finance, really talking about personal branding. So it was actually one of the top 10 awarded blogs there. And that's where I started. We ended up having 50 writers when all was said and done. And it still exists today. It's just that I'm not running it anymore. But that's where I came from, was from a blogging background, and how you can utilize that to reach, to syndicate, for affiliate sales, for monetization, on how you can do that within Google and also within YouTube. So we'll talk a little bit about that and how you measure that, but I'd love to know a little bit more about your businesses and what you actually are looking for from our time together today. But I'd love to customize what I'm talking about specific for your business. So let me know. I'd love to hear. Use the chat box for that, okay? Now, there's a lot of data out there, right? You can find so much. It's so easy now, especially with AI, right? AI is artificial intelligence. If you're not using it yet, do know that you are actually, because Google search has changed. Google search is now assisted by AI. So you heard that called search generative or generative search, and that's changed and it's rolled out across the United States and Canada, which is changing what and how things are showing up in search. So we know there's a lot of data out there. There's a lot of things that are neat, NEAT, neat to know, and there are things that we need to know. And really, for us as businesses and creators, we need to know what will help us get in front of more people and move our business forward, and not just the need to know information, because you can get lost in that and not have enough time to take care of business itself. So what you need to know is really how your data tells a story, the information that it's telling you, because that information can help you make better decisions on what needs to be available and what content you need to be creating, or what that path is that people take their decision journey, and what would be helpful to them along that journey. So where did they come from? Where are people coming from to your site? What are they looking for? Who are they? Who's the best person that you actually serve, who will come and be interested in your content? So I don't see anybody typing yet what their actual business is or about what they're actually focused on. I'd love to hear more. Use that chat box for that and let me know about your industry. What are you focused on? Are you a content creator? Do you have e-commerce? Do you have merch on your site? Are you more into affiliateships? I'd love to hear. Let me know in the chat box. Need to know what is that things that people find interesting. And this is important because when people find your content, it needs to resonate with them. It needs to connect with them. They need to find it and think, oh my gosh, they get me. And the big thing is Google needs to see it too. Understand Google's search is built, an algorithm is built on 3 pillars. The first pillar is relevance. How well do you match what somebody is searching for? Now, if you have, let's say, you're blogging about beads and bead design, and they're trying to figure out how do I make a great necklace with amethyst, so they're not specifically looking at beads, are you showing up even though they may be looking for amethyst beads? Or are if you have, let's say you do jewelry, you do design as far as get readies with me. So you do GRWMs and you want to show how you put things together. You do a lot of affiliate sales through LTK, or maybe you're doing those directly on your site, or maybe you're on an Amazon shop, whatever you're doing. And if people can't find you, if they're looking for certain words that they use to describe what it is that you do and you don't know those, then you're not going to show up. That's why relevance is so important. And know that AI is looking not just at keywords anymore, it looks at key phrases. So let's see, I see here you're driving people to product service through a blog and video. You're trying to diversify your sale. Thank you, everybody, for using that chat box. You're content creators and you need to get more eyes on your post. Home DIY and decor. Absolutely. I was working with somebody, well, actually, a couple of people that do a lot of home DIY, decor. Some even do recipes. Home decor and DIY. Perfect. Share affiliates. Absolutely. Interior design, DIY website, cleaning, organizing, crafts, repurposing. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Chaz. Newish blogger covering home and garden design. Great. All right. So as you do this, what's your data telling you? So there's two things that you actually need to look at as a content creator. Google Analytics is great, but how many of you are using Google Search Console? Let me know. I'd love to know. How many of you, let me know in the chat box, are using Google Search Console? Okay, perfect. All right, I'm going to bring up here Google Search Console too when I do the live demo so we can see it. See if I can, which ones I can show you. Great. So how are you using Google Search Console for those of you who use it? To see how people are finding you. Absolutely. But I don't think I use it. No worries. All right, let me. Okay. Just want to make sure Search Console is up here. I check the Discover tab. I do use GSC, what keywords I rank for. Absolutely. All right. So as we talk about using Google tools to see, even though this actual agenda looks at Google Analytics 4, I will take a deeper dive in there. I do want to cover Google Search Console and then also Google Trends. Are any of you using Google Trends? Let me know with a show of one in the chat box if you're using Google Trends. I'll talk about the new Google Analytics 4 because that, again, Universal Analytics sunsetted in July 1st. And so it's only been Google Analytics 4, and I'll always finish with recap and resources, okay? So let me know, again, if you're using Google Trends, just put a number 1 in the chat box if you are. So let's talk more about Google Analytics, especially I know some are new here and they're just setting this up. So this will be a good outline for you to get a copy of today's slides to see what's happening. This is just going through a scenario. Let's say we have Eva and Ricky. They want to know, they create designs. So they actually are fashion designers. They create and curate products. So they have not just their own products that they create, t-shirts specifically, but they also have affiliateships that they highlight on their site because they are getting a little bit of affiliate money from that and monetize that way. So they started using Google Analytics because they wanted to figure out how and where they need to focus, right? The first thing you need to know about utilizing any of these tools, and I know this is the unsexy part, but it is the foundation. And without it, this is the biggest mistake people use and do not do. And they are actually run into friction with this because they don't have all of this outlined. And those are SMART goals. You really do need to know what they are. They are specific. So they have to be very specific. What is it that you want, that you're looking for? So what does the success look like for you? What's that action that will help you? Because I hear a lot of people that'll tell me, well, Maria, I want 5,000 followers on Instagram. I was like, that's great. What does that mean for your business and your goal? And how does that lift the bottom line? Because $1 or 1 minute spent that's not lifting the bottom line or getting you closer to your goal is $1 or 1 minute spent too much. So if you can tell me, all right, I specifically want 1,000 or 5,000 people on Instagram, And the reason I want that is because I know Instagram's borrowed land. And because of that, I know of the 5,000 people, I'll get about 1,000 of them that will give me their email address over the course of different content that I share on Instagram. Once I get 1,000 of those emails, then I can market to them directly. And I'll get about half of them to come to my site. Another half or 10% will download my PDFs. Now I get to know a little bit more about people who are doing business with me. And it's on us to become experts on our customers. We need to really know who is it that we serve and know everything, the pitfalls, the pain points, and the celebrations that they're having. We need to know that backwards and forwards, because that is how we can make sure that we're in their pathway and their decision journey whenever they are looking to no, go, do, or buy. And this is why we need to be specific. So if somebody can tell me, I want 5,000 followers because I know I'm going to get 1,000 email addresses, and at 1,000 email addresses, I have an active campaign that goes out every week, every month. Now they have something solid that is really specific, measurable. Is it attainable? That really depends on your background and whether or not your history of, have you done that before? It's just like if somebody says they want to make more money, I always say, well, a penny when you're 99 years old is more money. So let's be more specific. And is it attainable? I want to make $1,000,000. Well, I only made $100,000 last year. What are you going to do that is going to make up the $900,000 difference that is different than what you did last year? Is it relevant? Well, if it's lifting your bottom line or getting you closer to your goal, then it is. And is it time bound? Well, when somebody can tell me, all right, I want 5,000 followers on Instagram because I know I'll get 1,000 email addresses and I can do that within a quarter. So in Q1 or Q2, now they're being very time bound. Understand that if you don't have all 5 points of a SMART goal, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely, then it could throw you off your trajectory. You have to have all 5. So when you look at your goals, test them. 5 points: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Do they actually adhere to and follow all of those so that you can make those goals inevitable? For Ricky and Eva, they were targeting some cities. They didn't know if their best customers were at one of these 3 cities, which was the best place, where they needed to spend time, what socials do they need to be on? Because it's great to be everywhere, but you've got to take care of business as well. And a quality of life too, right? You did this business because you wanted something from not being an employee or being tied to a corporate schedule. So what is it that you want? Well, and what will help you get there? Better decisions and being very focused. So what are your goals? What are you looking for? Just like you were sharing in the chat box, you want to grow more. You want to develop your affiliateship better. You'd like to be able to do your videos and to be able to drive people to actual sites. So knowing those goals are very important, which I appreciate each of you sharing. So Google Analytics, for those of you who don't know, Google Analytics, what it does is it measures people's behavior on your site. Okay, so it measures that and it lets you know what people are most interested in and what they dislike. This is really important because remember what I said, it's on us to be experts on our customers. For example, if we had a brick and mortar store, just if you had that one, imagine that, and all morning long people came in and they went to aisle 1 and aisle 3 and then they left. Aisle 1, 3, leave. 1, 3, leave. Nobody bought, but everybody came in to see 1, 3, and left. Then in the afternoon, all of a sudden people would go to aisle 1, they'll go to aisle 4, they'll go to aisle 3, and now they'll buy. 1, 4, 3, buy. Now I've got questions. Is it the person in the afternoon that is my customer and the person in the morning are just shoppers? They're just looky-loos. What is on aisle 4 that is making them buy? Or what is in aisle 1 that is distracting them from buying? All right, so what's happening there? Now imagine this is your website. All morning long, people come in and look at your homepage, page 1, go to page 3, and they leave. 1, 3, leave. And then in the afternoon, 1, 4, 3, and they do what you want them to do. They do that conversion action. You're going to hear me say buy, the word buy sometimes. That's because I come from an e-commerce background, but what I mean is a successful action. That's called a conversion action. It could be download a PDF, fill out a contact form, give you their email address, watch the video, read your blog post fully, look at information. So it could be any of those. So Google Analytics helps you understand their behavior. And when you understand their behavior, now you can be better at being there when they need you and understand when people are interested in information. Yes, they're looking, but even when they are steps before looking for that information and you're already providing them good information, now they see you as an expert because you are helping them know what's ahead and take away some of that fear of the unknown. So why would you use analytics? It's really to understand, is your content doing everything that it's supposed to be doing, right? Is it really getting to and creating the audience that you want and reaching that audience? And which channels work the best, okay? Because I do like to see exactly which channels are driving traffic. I'm on all the socials, but I don't need to be spending a lot of time on all the socials because I know which ones actually drive people to come to the site and people who are actually going to take actions, not just people who are interested in what, they're just kind of looking around. So they're just getting additional information. Google Analytics can be found at g.co/analytics. Again, I'm going through this just because I did see some people don't have Google Analytics, and you have all of the access to Google Search Console, Google Analytics, and Google Trends is 100% free. You have that available to you through your free personal Gmail or your free Google account, okay? All right, so let's talk about understanding your account. With Google Analytics, all of the navigation for any Google tool happens on the left-hand side. So when you see that, you'll see it drops by default into home. That gives you kind of a quick snapshot of what's happening to your site. And now you can navigate through there and look at reports, which gives you a little bit more details. And I'm going to do a live demo of this, so don't worry. This isn't all that I'm going to show you of this because I just want to give us a good lay of the land, especially if this is your first time ever seeing analytics. So you have reports. You can take a look at different things that are happening, especially concerning your business objective. You can look at things like, where are people coming from? You can look at the date range, so you can change it from month to date or from the beginning of the year. You can do all of that, right? And you can also filter different things. Let's say you want to know how many people in Oklahoma bought from me, how many people shop with an iOS phone, so an Apple phone, or how many people bought for in Detroit. So you can get that specific, or how many use their laptop. You can filter the information to give you a better understanding of who that best customer is. There is a real-time report there. So real-time is telling you what is happening in real time. Why would you want to use a real-time report? Well, I use a real-time report when I've posted, immediately after I've posted, or if I've done any email marketing. So if I've posted a video, if I posted anything on socials, or I released an email marketing, now I can go here to see, am I getting any traffic? So traffic are people that come to your site. Am I getting any traffic from this? I can see in real time. In fact, I watch sometimes when people will do collabs, or I had somebody who actually was on the Today Show and she was able to showcase some things on the Today Show. And you could see as it was released on the Today Show by each time zone, you could see it waving across the country as people would jump on. I could watch it in real time, what's happening on the site. So you can see immediately whether or not your promotion or what you're pushing out there is actually effective. You can see where your customers come from. Okay, so where people on your site, and I'm calling them customers, again, it could be your readers, but you can see, or your viewers, where they come from. So what does all of this mean? Well, when we say direct, that means that people found you directly. That means they typed in your actual website address. That's what direct means. When people are finding you directly, predominantly, so in this case, we see 27,000 found them by typing in their actual address, their website address, that means you've got pretty good brand awareness. People are aware that you exist. That is really good because being visible, people need to know you exist or they can't do business with you. So that's first and foremost. In fact, that's the top of the funnel. We start with awareness, then consideration, then conversion. So you see it gets funneled in, and then loyalty. So we funnel in, but first people have to be aware. The problem is a lot of us spend time on awareness thinking that's where we need to beef it up, that everything needs to be about awareness. And I'm not saying it doesn't. It's the first part of the funnel. You have to fulfill that. But if all you're doing is spending all your time in brand awareness, then when do people have consideration, meaning that they're considering a product or service that you have, or a product or service that you're recommending? When do they move to that part? And are you focused on that and providing them all those things that they need to trust the clicks that they're going to be doing on your site or in any affiliate site that you're linked with, or trusting and watching your actual video? Because awareness just means that they know you exist, but consideration means now they're learning more and finding out a little bit more about you and your content. Cross network means that you were shared across another Google tool. So it could be maybe you're shared on YouTube, maybe you were shared in Blogger, because that's a Google tool as well. Maybe you were shared on somebody's site. So it could be that across network. It could be paid search, that is ads. So people have found you by paid search with ads. Organic search is just like it sounds. They are looking for you organically. So that you know, organic search means that they might have looked for DIY furniture, but they didn't look for your actual website address, which means they have an awareness and they know they have a need, but they still don't know you exist. Okay, so that means if organic search is high, it may mean that you need to work on brand awareness. So if organic search is number one, let's say that was in the place of direct, and now direct was underneath it, that would tell me that you would need brand awareness, or it could be organic video. Okay. Engagement is, what do people do on your site? What are they looking at? How much time do they spend? The more time they spend, the better. They say at Amazon, on average, we spend about 17 minutes. I really think we spend longer than that on Amazon, but definitely you want people to spend more time on your site. There was a time before July 1st where we all looked at bounce rate, right? Everything was about your bounce rate, but bounce rate means nothing now. Why does bounce rate mean nothing? Because I could be in line to drop off my kiddos and I'm on my phone. And then I throw it over to my laptop when I go to get some coffee and I have a couple of meetings. Then I get home and I throw it to my desktop and I'm working from my home office, throw it back to my mobile, and then I throw it to my smart TV at the end of the day. So when I do that, I am engaged. I'm still bouncing though. It looks like I'm bouncing. I bounced off a mobile. I bounced off my laptop. I bounced. So to Google in old analytics, universal analytics, it looked like I bounced. I left, but I've not left. I've just changed devices. Most of us have much more than one device. And because of that, that's why Google went to the engagement rate. How well are they engaged? Because even though I might have bounced from my phone to a laptop or tablet or iPad or to a smart TV or desktop, it's still me. So I'm still engaged. And then monetization. If you are selling something online, if you have e-commerce, then you really need to look at these numbers and understand your abandonment rate. So your abandonment rate of your site, your cart abandonment rate, as well as your checkout abandonment rate. And each three are totally different on what they're measuring. And a lot of people misread that. They think that cart abandonment is the same as checkout abandonment, and they're two totally different things. And they're actually speaking to different things as well. If you would like to know that, let me know, because if you do any e-commerce, I'm happy to go over that with you, what each of those mean. But if you don't need that, I'm not going to spend time on that, because I do want to get you to show you some things live. How loyal are your customers? Are they coming back? So do people visit you quite often? When you look at the visitors to your site, are they always new eyeballs? Or are they returning eyeballs? Because that means the language, the content on your site needs to be a little bit different. If most are returning, then you might have some things where you're like, welcome back, or the last time, we were building on this. So you're going to have a more familiar tone with them compared to somebody new who may not even understand the topic and what you're covering. And then really, what tech are they using? Because this is important. We need to know, how people are looking for things, even when people are building out websites. So tomorrow I'm doing a webinar session about make your website work for you. And one of the things that I tell people is, if you have limited time and money, build for the mobile site, then for a desktop site. Even Amazon, when I was working with the Amazon team, they built for mobile first. If they had extra time, energy, and money, they built for desktop, because people go for mobile first. And a mobile designed functioning site is a lot different in its design than just an actual desktop site. In fact, anybody, especially in e-commerce, will let you know that if you just take a mobile site and make it mobile responsive, or a desktop site and make it mobile responsive, it'll be okay. You'll at least be able to pass to show to Google, but it's definitely not user friendly because user behavior on mobile is a lot different. And a lot of the mobile sites are very different from a desktop site just because we're used to tapping and scrolling and doing a lot of different things on mobile. So Google Analytics search box is another thing that I wanted to share with you, but let's go to a live demo first before I do that. And I can show you some things. Let me make this a little bit bigger since I'm broadcasting, and I'll bring it up in just a moment. I'm just switching screens here. All right. So I'm going to show you some things. All right. So this is an actual Google Analytics account. You can see this is where it drops in by default when you go to Google Analytics. You'll see it's right there in the home. So right there, you've got the icons to the left. When I hover over, they appear of what you can see. Now, I can go to reports and see exactly some reports. You'll see it actually opens up more. And there are usually 4 reports that it actually creates already embedded in there for you. If you want to generate leads, if you're driving online sales, you're raising brand awareness, or to understand user behavior. These are already built in for you. So I know that Google Analytics 4, this is what is the active version right now of Analytics, can look overwhelming, right? Because it's so much different information, but I actually like it better because because of this right up here, this search bar. You can search for whatever you're looking for, just like you can search for in Google search. So if I wanted to know, I didn't want to go through all these reports and try to figure out my engagement rate, I can go in here and do engagement rate, hit enter, and it tells me what my engagement rate is, 45.94%. Is that good for an e-commerce store? Not really. E-commerce stores need to be between 60 and 75%. So when I look at this, I think there's a couple of things that could be happening. One is there is a disconnect between what people are finding online, what you're posting on Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, and what they actually come to your site and find. So they're feeling like, that's not what I'm looking for. A lot of times people make the mistake and they drop them into their actual homepage, which is the worst place you can send somebody because that usually doesn't house what they're looking for. If they're reading this great recipe that you made on matcha tea, or how to decorate, for the new spring look, getting ready for Easter look, and you take them to the front page, then they are now having to search for something. And there's nothing more frustrating to people because they're not finding what they're looking for. I understand. I sit across from small businesses and content creators many conferences, and I hear them tell me, but Maria, they come to my site and I'm just excited to have their eyeballs, so I want them to see everything and see that they might like other things. And I tell them, you know what, it's the worst thing you can do. You have to build trust. They don't know you yet, and they don't know, like, and trust you. And in order to do that, you need to do what you told them you're going to do. If you told them you're going to take them to the recipe, take them to the recipe, take them directly there. And then on that page, earn the right. Let them know, hey, if you like this recipe, I also teach how to grow these heirloom tomatoes. I teach you how to do this, how to set that table, what actually pairs well with this. Now earn that right. But do not break trust already by not doing what you told them you're going to do. So that's where we see a lot of these problems with engagement rate happens, because people go on there and they're like, I'm not searching through that hot mess of a homepage. I can't find anything. So they go ahead and just go on to find something else. They're not even going to give you another chance. So I like to look at engagement rate here, but you can also look at other things. Let's look at acquisition. Where do people come from? Well, let's look. Let's go to this overview, which gives us a snapshot of where people are coming from. And let's go into user acquisition, because I like to take a look at user acquisition to see where people are coming from. So it's telling me they're coming from cross network, which means it's good. It's showing up in a lot of the Google places, which it needs to be because they're running ads. So I'm glad they're showing across network. They're still working on their branding. You see the direct is second. So they're still working on their branding. Direct is second. They need to really have more brand awareness, and they know that. That's why they've launched a blog, and they're doing some heavy Facebook, Meta, and Instagram advertising. Referral means somebody referred them to you. They put a link there. Unassigned, sometimes this happens because people opt out of cookies. So if they reject the cookies and they don't want to be tracked, then they're not going to be tracked. So paid search, of course, that's just like it sounds like. Organic search, organic social, paid social. So paid social is just starting out for them. They just started doing that. So they're not getting a lot of return there on that. Now, what I can do is I can also go here, do traffic source, and then I can see, what's coming actually from Google Ads. So I can say, which ad did well? So now I'm filtering and I can see, okay, this is the ad that does well. And this one maybe a little bit, but I'm not sure. Let me look at the conversions. Yeah, it's really low conversions. If I'm going to spend my money on ads, see this one brought in 2,945. And let's see, it turned into 37 conversion actions, but this ad here only brought $489 and only 5 conversion actions. So if I had to, this was my only budget, I'd probably take money away from these 3 and put it all towards this first one because that's the one that's getting the best return on investment. Okay. So that's how you can filter there too and make a good decision on that. Now it might be you don't want to filter for that. You want to filter for, okay, traffic source. I want to know cross channel. So I want to know exactly when you say cross network, what's it coming from? Well, it's coming from Google CPC, cost per click. Direct is just people coming in direct. But this new Gretz store, this is my referral source. So if they're giving me some good referrals and it's number 3 on the traffic and people coming to my site and actually converting, I'm probably going to get to know them and want to be good friends with them and stay in good communication with them. I can see that Google paid search is also still even bringing in paid search. So not just across other networks and platforms that Google has, because Google has Google Lens, Google Shopping Comparison, Google Images. There's lots of places that you can appear, and in Gmail as well. But here, number 5, unassigned. Well, now I know it's not people who opted out. It's Klaviyo. That's email marketing. So it's an email marketing campaign. It's number 5. So I need to keep that at the top of budget. Do you see how you can use this for decision making? Organic search, great. Google organic search. So my Google ad is also pushing people to search organically. That's building my brand so that direct number 2 can become number 1 soon. And then Bing, well, people are coming from Bing and people are coming from Facebook. It's not just any paid social. I can see it's from Facebook. Now, if I wanted to see even further, let's see. Let's go down here and just expand this out. I can see, other than Facebook, YouTube is doing well. Mobile Facebook does well. Instagram is not till 26, number 26. Pinterest is not till 34. So should I be spending my time posting a lot on Pinterest? Maybe not. It really depends on who you're reaching and who your goal is. So who's your best client or customer and what your goal is. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at when I look at Google Analytics. If you're looking at monetization, if you have an e-commerce store, then that's going to be a little bit different because you want to see where your e-commerce purchasers are coming from and their purchase journey. You can look at all of that here, plus you can also search it out. So you can really take a deeper dive into what's working and how people are actually purchasing. What are they buying from your site? If you had product on your site, that's when you would use the monetization side. Let's see, you can also go here, you can explore. Google will give you a lot of different things to see, the path exploration. So what that is, the path lets you know what does it look like when people come in. First, when they come into your first page, then where do they go and where do they go next? So it'll actually show you which pages they go to when you click on each of these. Okay. Now, you heard me talk about Google Search Console. The reason I brought it up is because with Google Search Console, you will be dropped into this. So Google Search Console is different from Google Analytics because Google Analytics is measuring what people do on your site and how they consume information on your site. It helps you be an expert on your best viewer, reader, or customer. Google Search Console tells you how the search engine sees you. Because if the search engine is not confident in what it sees, it will not show you high in search. And you want to be in the first swipe or second swipe of search. So first scroll or second scroll. Because if you're past that, people aren't going to go further down unless you maybe owe them money. That's the only time they're going to search you out. So you can look and see here whether or not you've put your sitemaps in. This is important because if you have not put your sitemap in, this is where we run into trouble. Let me go back into, see if I can go here real quick. So that's where we get into trouble. And here's why. Because your sitemap is telling Google all the pages that you've published. Every time you publish a blog post, you need to index your site. Here's why. Googlebot will go and find you, but sometimes it can take Googlebot 90 days to actually find your information. So while it's searching for that information, you're losing cash. You're not getting the kind of volume that you need. You're not getting the kind of visibility you need from Google search. When you, for free, can enter it your own by indexing your site, letting Google know exactly all the pages of your site that you have, and making sure that it sees every single page of your site. So you see the importance of that, and why you want to make sure you're looking at this and you're indexing every single time. You can also look here to see your core web vitals and what's happening with those. So you can open this report, and not much. There's not much activity happening on the site. The site actually is needing a lot of work and visibility for traffic. So it's getting a little bit, but it does need more. Okay. You can go into, if we go into overview, we see the performance. We can look at the full report. And then I like to back up 16 months from there. All right, in this instance, you see how it's moving down this way? So the purple line are impressions. That's just people seeing your site. The blue line are clicks. That's engagement. And that to me is the money line. The blue line is the money line, but you want that on an upward trend. You really need that going up. If it's not going up, then what you're seeing is just mediocre traffic. Okay, remember what I said about traffic is people coming to your site, and you want to throw good traffic to your site, but sometimes you have to just throw a lot of traffic and then filter through what's good. Who are the ones who are actually clicking, reading things, watching the video, going to your affiliate links, going to your the affiliates that you work with. Okay, so not just the links, but actually to their site. Here's another one. Let's take a look at this one. I'm going to back that up for 16 months. And you'll see they're staying rather steady too. They've not launched out yet very much. Let's see. This is one that I know is doing some growth. They're actually doing some active blogging. They found out the keywords that people are actually searching for. And when I say keywords, understand it is no longer just words, it's phrases. It's very conversational, because when we search in AI, we speak in full sentences. We ask in full paragraphs. And that's why now keywords are becoming keyword phrases. In fact, I've been working with a lot of people on how they can change their keyword strategy, because that needs to adjust now that AI is in play, generative search. Okay, but what they can also find out here, so let's say you go click on pages here, they can see which pages are doing best, right? You can see the impressions and the clicks. Now, let's say that you have a great page here that's saying, I'm just going to make this up because it's not here on the site, but let's say that this page right here with 462 clicks, let's say that's you doing a great DIY, preparing your living room for a change to spring, right? How can you change that? Or how can you install, cabinets even? Now, when you see this, okay, wow, I've gotten 15,000 impressions and 462 clicks. Maybe I should have a pop-up come to this page that says, would you like to get notification every time I talk about how you can change out for the season, or how to install a cabinet? Is woodworking of interest to you? Now you can add them to your flow, right? Your flow desk, and you can add them as a flow for they're specifically interested in this. So I was working with somebody who is who actually is a content creator, and she has a whole tea flow. So people come and they want to know how to steep different type of tea to her site, and then she takes them through a whole process of what kind of tea, how to choose tea. They go through a whole other email flow than the people that come to her site, figuring out how to thrift things and how to repurpose thrifting things. So you see how she's using this to actually look and say, okay, I need to have pop-ups coming here. This one's for somebody who's looking for thrifting. This is for somebody who's looking for decorating. This is somebody who is doing plant work or plant care. Okay, so she has it, and she's all able to tell that from Google Search Console. Okay. You can also take a look at page speed site. Okay, let's do that real quick. And I'm just going to Google it. It's page speed insights. Somebody in the chat, let me know their website address. Let me make that bigger because I'm broadcasting. Let me know your website address. Anybody in the chat box. And what this does. Okay, perfecting places. Thank you. Thank you, Kim, for being brave. So what this is doing, notice how it's looking at mobile first, right? So it's looking at your core web vitals. When it says failed, what that means, Kim, and this is not to embarrass you, this is really to help you because all of us need to look at our page speed insights. So what this is telling you is that you're not meeting the minimum that Google considers a good actual quality site. So when that happens, Google shows you much lower. 8, 9, 10 scrolls below is what you see happening, okay? So then it comes lower and we want you to show up in the first two. So let's take a look at what's happening here and help Kim out, right? So as we look here, I see the biggest thing happening and the biggest culprit is large content full paint. That usually has to do with themes or photos or a video. So sure enough, we see a performance of 41. You want to have a performance about 80. That's the goal. Okay, the goal is 80. 80 or better means you look good for Google. So what do we see happening here? Let me make this bigger. This is showing you second by second how things are showing up when people go to your site on search or on mobile. 1 second, 2 second, 3 second. See how in 3 seconds it took that long for that photo to load? So it's that photo. Now it could be the theme that photo is using. So maybe you're using it as a background. Maybe it's the photo itself. It's so large because that's the biggest culprit. People will upload photos that are great for print, but for on the website, you only need a 95 dot per inch resolution. And the reason you want that is because you need it to load faster. Here's why. Because people are not patient. If your website does not load in 1.2 seconds, 1.2 seconds or less, you will lose over half, 53% of your traffic. We give a little bit more for e-commerce sites. So if you're an e-commerce site where you have lots of products, lots of SKUs, we might go to 1.8 seconds. That's 1.8. But 1.2 on average is what people have patience for. That means for every time that you go over 1.2, you're losing half of your traffic. You could be working your butt off, writing and doing email, posting on Instagram, posting on Pinterest. But if it takes more than 1.2 seconds, you're losing 53%. So all that great traffic, you're losing half because it's taking too long for your site to load on mobile. And then for every second afterwards, you're losing another 10%. So remember what I said when what this is showing you here. 1 second, 2 second. You're at 2 seconds here. You've lost 53% of your traffic. 3 seconds, you've lost another 10%. So you see, and that's the big thing, is it's the photo size. There's also some JavaScript here. So Google's telling you exactly what you need to do. You'll click here and it'll say, consider reducing the spend. Now, I'm not a website expert at all. I know how to navigate it. I know what it needs to do. I know what Google will penalize for. So what I do is I give this to my my website editor, who happens to be my son. So my son, my young son, I say, okay, fix all of this because this needs to be worked on because the JavaScript is taking too long. It's taking a full 5 seconds and that's going to be a problem. Now let's see how you do on desktop. On desktop, much better. So her site is very much optimized for desktop, but not so much for mobile. And when it's not for mobile, that's another penalty that Google throws at you because mobile has to be optimized and responsive. So we see that it's really the graphics and maybe the theme. It's some script in there too. Let me see what else it could be. Going down here. Um, yeah, there's main thread, that's the theme, and there's a third party code in there. So the third party code, sometimes that's a lot of that is email marketing. So sometimes that's Flowdesk, which is fine because you get it returns itself in profit anyway. So I'm okay with that slowdown just because it does some of the work it needs to for me. But I would definitely cut out some of these other things here, especially this unused JavaScript here. There's a lot of stuff happening there. And it could be that they're your affiliate links, which is great. If that's what you want to work with and you want to have like ads embedded on your site, that makes sense. But just find out what you can actually rearrange on what shows up on your site first. So maybe you can get this design, this number 3 panel showing up right at number 1 at least. Let's do one more before we leave this. Birds of a Feather CA. Okay. So we're going to go back to page speed insight. And I can never, there you go. There it is. And I'm going to put in, let's see if I don't get this wrong, Sarah. Birds of a Feather. Oh, I can, look at this. I'm not even, the typo is what we have to worry about here. A feather.ca. So it'll give it a moment to look at that. And this is free for you to use. You just Google PageSpeed Insights is what you saw me do, and you can use those for free. You'll see some of this in your Core Web Vitals, but to see the actual PageSpeed Insights, this is a website developer tool, but you can use it 100% for free. And you can share it with your website developer if you've got somebody doing that, either, a website developer, not a designer. So designer just does the visual part, but a developer who actually does the coding part will be able to help you with this. So you can see here that there's also, we're at 53 here, so you're a little bit faster than the last website, but still only at 53. So that's why you failed the Core Web Vitals. Ooh, you've got a long wait time though. So even though you're showing up a little bit better performance, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds before something shows up. That's a long time. Okay, that's a long time for somebody to wait on their phone for something to load. So just keep that in mind. For you, of course, it's loading right away right now because you've got in your cache, you've got a lot of these elements already there, so it's loading for you. But somebody brand new coming in, this is how long it's taking them. Let's say desktop. Better on desktop. You see in desktop, still taking a while. Not sure why it's taking so long. Let me go to mobile, since that's where most people go. Yeah, it's this. It's that photo right there. It is big. 584, 584. Yeah, it's big. It's a big photo. So that's why it's slowing it down. Okay? Just to give you an idea on that. All right. Let's go back here now, because we're almost at time and I want to make sure I'm respectful of your time. How search box, I showed you how you can go up to the search box in Google Analytics. Again, that's up here when I talk about search box. So you can actually look for instant answers. You can find out what's happening here. How is this working? You can ask that in the search box and it will come up with this already. So Google is really fine-tuning its analytics intelligence and being able to provide you those right away. So you can learn more about what you can use the search box with going to this lower left-hand side. And remember, you do have a copy of today's slide and the handout available to you here. I'm putting that link back in the chat if you missed it when you first came in. But you can see it gives you a lot of insights and you can decide to take advantage of some of these insights. Some of these could be just great factoids. Remember what I said about there's things that are neat to know and things that you need to know that will actually get you closer to lifting that bottom line or closer to your goals. All right. You can explore for better depth and insights, but I would start with utilizing that search bar first because you could get lost here all day. Now I'm a data geek. I love to spend all day in here, but some of us have business to take care of as well as customers. So I want to make sure that you are still being, effective with your time and looking at the things that are the most important that you need to know. So for even Ricky, when they were trying to decide in this little case scenario, we were looking at the different target cities, they found that they did not all perform well. They filtered for the different cities. So they decided to focus all of their targeting on those actual cities. Now, if you're using Google Ads, if you will connect Google Ads and Google Analytics, what is even better is Google Ads has a keyword planner in there for you, so you can use that for free without even running ads, and it will help Google Ads will learn from Google Analytics exactly what people are needing, more about your customer. So you just would go in and look at the left-hand side here where you navigate, and there's a little gear icon. That's the settings. Now you're going to change up the settings and actually put Google Ad links in there. And I don't understand why people don't do this, because this actually helps lower your cost of ads. When Google Ads can learn from actually people coming and visiting your site, it can do a better job targeting for you. Okay? Oops. Don't know why that one showed up. If you need help from me more than this, there's a membership that I have where I actually go through walkthroughs. People say, Maria, can you review my analytics for me? Can you show me how to do this? Can you do a quick review of this? I'll do videos and share that within our membership. So this is a paid membership and you are welcome to it. Excuse me. It's going to be open for the next 24 hours. If you're interested, I can definitely help you there. And then you can also find me on socials. Feel free to connect with me there. I would love to connect with you as well and hear what you applied that you learned, because I always love to do that, even though knowledge is not powerful, because a lot of people believe the myth knowledge is powerful, but it is not until it is applied. And I'm going to model for you some good behavior. That anytime you've given good product or service or information, ask for a review, because this is how you build your reviews. Know that you need at least 60 to 120 five-star reviews to even compete on a national stage. And so it's really important for you to ask for reviews everywhere, bottom of invoices, bottom of email, on your social links, anywhere that you can. But let's now go to Q&A, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. So let me know what those are.